Okay, I'm doing another video about how to succeed in the academic world. And by succeeding, I mean not flunking out, whatever your goals may be. My goal this last semester was to pass because I had failed 2 exams and there was a real jeopardy of me failing out. And I was working a full-time job, my nursing job, full-time LPN, and I don't know exactly the point at which I lost control, but I knew once my yoga room started getting cluttered and dirty that something was not right. And I was irritated. I don't know if it hit me quite yet. I suppose I was like mad at myself and how I let things get out of control, which eventually manifested itself as frozen shoulder syndrome, and here I am now. So how did I pull myself out of it? The first thing I did was I started back meditating. I said, I had my greatest successes if I had my regular meditation period every morning. Let's get things started while I talk. And I set my Insight Timer. Insight Timer, by the way, is the best app out there in my opinion. And I started with a little bit. I started like 5, 10, 15 minutes. I started looking at how I was wasting time in the morning, or I just said, I'm going to take this time, 5 to 15 minutes. I know I can meditate for 5 to 15 minutes, either in the morning or at work on my breaks and things like that. And the only thing with meditating on my break times is that when you go deep, and I mean by deep, I'm talking about having visions, hearing things. I don't mean sounds in the home. I mean when spirit comes down on you and takes you to another place. And then you have to come out of that after about 15, 20 minutes. It's usually how long I sit down and wind down on my lunch break, which is about half an hour. And then I meditate for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And sometimes it leaves me a little tired and very sensitive to emotions. And I just ground myself, and that could be dangerous for some people, but for me, my best grounding technique is to have a little coffee or tea. And that's how I do it. And then I eat a little something. And then I go about my business. Sometimes I go very slow. But again, I carved out that time period to meditate. And I let ritual go by the wayside. And at some point, I began to miss it. And I said, I can sit here before I go to work about 5 minutes and meditate with a candle for 5 minutes. And that's what I started doing until I got up to the point where I was coming in my altar room a few times a week, maybe freshen up water and coffee. I'm not doing the coffee thing anymore, but I am doing the glasses of water. It depends on what you want to do. You can have your altars as elaborate as you want, all kinds of offerings, but when you are a nursing student and you work full time, if you have families, you have to decide for yourself the level of spiritual involvement you want to get. And when you deal with being a priestess of Santissima Muerte or some other involved thing. I even find it challenging to be a spiritual heathen, to study my thunder shamanism, which is going to be another video. I'm an apprentice now, I'm doing my apprentice classes online, and that will give me some structure every week when the school semester starts. That's another thing, and that actually I think will be worth the $100 a month. Another benefit of getting some scholarship money. Apply for scholarships. I applied for a nurse. I said, well, what the heck, I'll apply. What's the worst thing? They're not going to give it to me. I wrote a really good essay, and they liked my essay, and I got $2,000, $1,000 each semester, and then I got a scholarship for being an older, non-traditional student. Because I'm an older person going back to school after not going to school for like how long, and going in and coming out. And I got that. And I got into the TRIO program, which is, at first I was kind of like, my God, that's welfare. And my God, it's welfare. They want to know my raise, and I was carrying on and fussing about it. My husband's like, who gives a shit? It's money. She's like, it's your tax money. Why don't you just take it? And he's like, just think about it like stealing it back from the government for taking advantage of your like relatives when they came to this country in the 60s or whatever, and worked and paid taxes and didn't take their Social Security. So I was like, I applied for that, and then I got accepted. And it's come to bear that this spring I went part-time, and at first I was a little apprehensive about doing that, and I said to myself, I'm going to have more time to exercise. I'm going to have especially more time to meditate. That was the big thing in my mind. I'm going to have more time to dedicate to all of my practices, which, are eclectic, but right now I'm trying to structure my main practice right now of the Thunder Wizard path. I still have my Catholic roots. I mean, will never get away from it because my mother's Catholic. My husband's Catholic. I live in a Catholic town. Don't get me started on that. But, and I have Santissima Muerte, who's very connected to the Catholic churches, although some people wouldn't like to admit that. And St. Martin de Porres, who is like my guardian. He kind of pulls me back from the edge when I'm getting too far out. He's not an Amparo so much as he's like a gray eminence, shall we say. Consigliere, like that. Like tap me on the shoulder and let me know when I'm getting too astray on something. Like he is the one that brought me back to regular devotion, and also he is the one with Frasier who brought my cat back from like almost near death. That's another video still. So you have to make the time for meditation. You have to make the time for devotion to a practice. If you're going to be eclectic, you have to have things that blend together. For me, I started on this path back in 2012 when I saw The Pianist, and I had like a life-changing experience and started asking the big questions. I studied World War II, the Holocaust, Nazism, and all that. And I started with Buddhism. I did this. I went back to paganism. I got involved with Santissima Muerte when she was big in the media, and like, why people hate her so much, I'll want to find out why. I saw a whole bunch of YouTube videos for like a year or two, and I said to myself, I'll wait. Then I got involved with her and found out she's like the most benevolent deity ever. I like a lot of aspects of Hinduism. I was going to study hoodoo for a while, but hoodoo is very for the hoodoo root work course from Lucky Mojo, which I'm going to pick up after school ends, because that is very time intensive in a way that the Thunder Wizard stuff and this other stuff isn't. I work very well with the candle lighting and things like that, but it has a very like Christian base, and right now I'm not about the Christianity. So I want to pay the respect hoodoo deserves and not disrespect people's ancestors, because I'm stepping kind of like I don't want to say foreign territory, but I want to honor those people. So that's that. Santissima Muerte and Odin do not get along. I will tell you that right now. Odin really doesn't. He tolerates St. Martin de Porres, but like the deer antler and the raven feathers, when the candle knocked over, I said, okay, I won't be putting that on that altar. And it's not for the reason that you think. It's because St. Martin de Porres is a Roman Catholic saint. I know, as ridiculous as that sounds, I'm getting like a spiritual download about St. Martin de Porres from, oh my god, this is like happening. I usually don't channel and I don't listen when spirits start talking to me, but it's like it has very much to do with Christianity's impact on the European continent, which Odin feels very strongly about. And I'm not going to make a video on that because I don't want to get hate mail. But I will, if I can dig it up, I will put a link in my show notes about... Actually, if you just go to Thunder Wizard's channel, you can do a search about racism, because he did a series on racism when the whole Rachel Dolezal thing came out, and the impact of Christianity on ancient Europe. But it's not him. But I will tell you that Mother Hulda and Santissima Muerte are like this when it comes to me. And so if I practice with that in mind, I make it work. And I think that they like that I don't give up my other ethnic things to totally follow after another path, because for me to give up my roots in Roman Catholicism, it's kind of like denying like my ethnicity, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but those of you watching this video and you've been down this path, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so mixing that, you have to keep it straight when you're dealing with school and things like that, to not have your path cluttered with different things. bring your deities into your academic life. I mean, the best thing that I ever discovered before I had my Vedic reading was Blue Santissima Muerte. And a practice that I started last semester that I dropped for this semester and picked up again was throwing my pennies and coins and making offerings to the crossroads and to the water, the footbridge. When you go onto the Pitt Bradford campus, you cross over a little bridge that crosses a creek or a river, whatever that. I don't know. I have to find out the name of this body of water. Anyway, I got into tossing coins for good luck into this river water. And also, before we make the left turn to go on Campus Drive, when it's something big time, I will throw nickels, dimes, quarters there. I'm sure people have seen me doing it. I'm sure. Only thing that I sometimes think about is when if someone's walking and I don't want to make someone get hit by a car because they're picking up money. But so I try to like chuck it on the grass or something like that. But leaving just like little offerings here and there. I will also on the top of my note papers and things write like little affirmations. I will pray, and a very good meditation I got out of the Santa Muerte book is to envision yourself teaching people what you're learning. So it's almost kind of like a creative visualization memory technique where you say like, I'm standing up and I'm wearing like a blue toga or like some kind of ancient dress, and I have my garb on and my battle dreads and my jewelry and stuff, and I'm lecturing on congestive heart failure or something like that to Santa Muerte and like George Washington Carver and all of these people that I have been interested in is in this audience. And this is how you do it. And you say your prayer, you say, Blue Santissima Muerte, bless my study efforts. This is what I have to learn. On my exam, on my quiz, in my paper, whatever, help me to recall this information. And then you go through your creative visualization during your studies. And I have to say, like, I have my own mojo bag that I put together, but I will say that the best mojo bag I have ever used is the Crown of Success mojo bag from Lucky Mojo. It's $30. I highly recommend it. It is worth it. In fact, since I thought about it, I'm going to buy one. I'm going to use some of my scholarship money to buy the triple strength, because I think the triple strength is $45. So you get like a bigger pouch with bigger, I think, just everything in a little bit of a larger size. And I'll probably put, maybe on the outside of it or something like that. Maybe a Santissima Muerte charm or something. I don't know. You know what? I'm probably just going to leave it just the way it is. We don't fix what ain't broke. And that's another thing that I did for academic success along the spiritual. And when I had my Vedic astrology reading, I got back deities that want to work with me, that want to bless me, and this is who I pray to, Mercury being one of the deities I really started working with hardcore. And if I think about it, if I ask Santa Muerte to tell me which color robe would correspond with Mercury, I'm getting back black. And also amber. I'm not sure why she's telling me about amber, but she's saying, Neha, it's been a while for you with me. Because I used to know like all the colors I think amber is for like physical healing, but I would have to double check. Black, for me, I'm not afraid of Black Santissima Muerte, but Black Santissima Muerte is also kind of like people like deities like Saturn, where if you ask for her help, be prepared for a hardcore teaching. And so that's another thing. The other thing I started doing at the end of the semester was the Pomodoro technique, which I kind of was doing before, but I used the Pomodoro structure of the 25-minute break and the 25-minute study period and a 5-minute break, and I would kind of like meditate in between with my cell phone. You know, you put it on my cell phone, whatever, and do that. And also another thing for academic success, I don't have it with me, but I wrote on a brown piece of paper what exactly I wanted, and I did get, I think that the final exam I got a 78, and I think I asked for an 85. And for me, the issue was with the morning I would be very tired because I was working, but this time I had time off and I had a finite time to study, and I ran out of time to study actually for finals. I was not able to study the last like 2 chapters. So 78 for me was pretty good, and I passed. I think it was 78. And so that's just one of the many things that I do for academic success. I talked about a lot of different things tonight. This video is like 21 minutes. I'm gonna have to post this at like work or something like that, where the internet's like really high speed, because this video will take forever to upload. So I hope that you find this information useful. Like, share, subscribe, comment with any questions or anything like that. My candles are lit. I'm going to do my oil. Oh, essential oil now. You want to know something to help your memory? Let me tell you. Establish an essential oil routine. I don't mean with like a diffuser, because I joined, and I'm going to say it, Young Living Oils, to get like the nice little kit and the diffuser, because I was into that stuff. And let me tell you, this is so different. It's almost like you're lighting a little altar. You get your tea candle, which I got these on sale from Walmart. I don't know how many Christmases ago. No. They're probably gone already. I will still look for tea lights on sale from this past Christmas, but I bought these for like $1 for like a gigantic pack. And let me just tell you, it's worth it. You put this in your little thing, and you put your drops of oil, and rosemary and lavender. Now, those are in my opinion, the top 2 for memory enhancement. It helps you relax, and it stimulates your memory. Rosemary and lavender tea was my drink forever. And I also started adding ginkgo to it and things like that. I'm going to start making that tea again. That's like related to my kitchen being a hot mess, but that's going to be like another video yet. Pine needles for ancestral memory. I don't know what is it with pine needles. It's also because like a lot of my meditations take place in like forests and things like that with a lot of pine trees, and I have a great affinity for pine. And so there's my last tip. Send me an email, comment, whatever. Have a good night.